everyone, welcome to episode 350, Taming the Toddlers. Welcome to the Harmony in the Home podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Hutchison. I'm a counselor, a life coach, and most importantly, an imperfect mom doing this work right along with you. And my goal on our podcast is to go from chaos to calm, feel less frazzled, and have more fun within your four walls to have more harmony in your home. Can you believe we're on episode 350? What is actually going on? I'm not really sure myself. I started this, I was hoping to get to 10, and now we're at 350 weeks. What the what? So today we're going to talk about those crazy toddlers, but I'm telling you, when we're talking about toddlers, we're talking about teens, we're talking about all the different ages, because I've had toddlers to teens, obviously, because I'm OLD, and small kids, small problems, big kids, big problems. That's very true. The same way you show up with the small problems is the same way you show up with the big problems, just a little bit bigger. You just have to hold a bigger container. You have to hold the space a little bit longer. And you have a little bit more history with said child. So you have to make sure you're always clearing out the cache and clearing out the cookies of that history with that child, and not so much creating this, oh, he or she's always been like this, so this is just the way it is. You have to disrupt the pattern. Just like when I was having students come from kindergarten, and the kindergarten teacher always wanted to tell me what was wrong with the child. I'm like, no, I don't want to know. I want a fresh start. I want a clean slate. So we have to make sure that we're always clearing our cookies, kind of like we go to a new website or a website and they're like, you want to clear your cookies? I'm like, I don't know what that means, but yeah, I think so. Or clear the cache. You want to do that? I'm like, yeah, sure. So you want to make sure that you're always doing that with your kids. So this comes from, I think I've shared her before. I was going to say PEDS Doc Talk, PEDS Doc Talk, PEDS Doc Talk. And she does a stitch with someone who's saying that the toddlers are terrible, which we all know that they're not. They're all just learning and growing, just like we're learning and growing. We could see them as having a hard time versus giving us a hard time and not putting labels on them. Then it doesn't become a self-fulfilling prophecy. So listen to this and let me know what you think.
I do not mean to scare anyone. This is not a fear-mongering post. This is not one of those annoying just wait comments. Please don't think I'm trying to do that, okay? Please. But 3-year-olds?
For us with our oldest, 2 felt like a breeze and then, wow. But remember, they're just in the most chaotic developmental phase of early childhood. At 2, they're like a tiny intern trying to figure out the job. At 3, they are middle management with way too much confidence and 0 impulse control. So let's break it down. Why does 3 feel so much harder than 2 for some kids? And why does understanding their brain actually make this phase easier to handle? 3 is when a child's brain development skyrockets, especially in 3 key areas: impulse control, emotional regulation, and language. And when all 3 explode at once, you get a tiny human with very big opinions, very strong emotions, and still not a lot of impulse control to manage it. The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that helps with self-control, problem solving, and not launching a shoe across the room, is still very immature. They know hitting is wrong, but their brain doesn't stop them before it happens. That's why they'll shove their sibling, look shocked, and say, I didn't mean to. They literally acted before thinking. At the same time, the amygdala, the emotional center of the brain, is on overdrive, while the part that helps regulate emotions, yeah, that's still catching up. This is why small problems feel catastrophic. A broken cracker is not just a broken cracker. It is a personal attack on their happiness. They feel things big and they don't know how to dial it down yet. Then there's the language explosion, which means more arguments and more knowing what to say, but not having the emotional maturity to match spoken words. Their speech skills are booming, so instead of just crying, they now argue, negotiate, and demand explanations. 2-year-olds may throw more physical tantrums, but with 3-year-olds, you are not just getting a meltdown, you may be getting a TED Talk about why bedtime is unreasonable and pajamas are unconstitutional. And then on top of that, they finally start to understand social power. 3 is when kids develop something called theory of mind, meaning they start to realize that other people have thoughts and feelings and they can influence them. This is a huge cognitive leap, but it also means they now argue more, lie to test reactions, daddy lets me do it, and negotiate everything. Okay, how about 5 more minutes? And when all of this happens at once, you get a tiny human with huge emotions, larger vocabulary, big opinions, but their brain is still playing catch up to process it all. So how do we make this easier? First, they push boundaries because they're learning social power and autonomy. Set firm, loving limits. When they demand a different plate after you already serve their food, they're not just being difficult. Their brain is testing. Can I control this? Instead of giving in, hold the boundary calmly. This is your plate today. You can pick tomorrow's. Or give them a choice between 2 plates beforehand. They may protest loudly, but consistency helps them learn what's negotiable and what's not. Second, their emotions feel bigger than their ability to handle them. Help them regulate. Instead of saying, stop crying, it's just a broken cracker. Try, you really wanted it whole, huh? That's frustrated. Do you want to eat it or pick a new snack? Naming emotions helps their brain process feelings over time. Third, their bossiness is actually a sign of cognitive growth. Give controlled choices. Their brain wants power, so give them the choices to satisfy that urge. Do you want to put on your shoes or your jacket first? Or do you want to walk to the car or do you want to hold my hand? They feel in charge while still following your boundaries. And fourth, their verbal skills make them more argumentative. Keep explanations short. They will argue forever if you let them. Instead of debating, keep it simple. I hear you, but this is what we're doing right now. Don't give them lengthy dissertations. 3-year-olds are blossoming. They're in a massive learning phase, figuring out how emotions work, how to use language to influence people, and how rules work, and if they can be broken. So yes, they will argue, test you, and sometimes make you want to scream into a pillow. Yes, speaking from personal experience, but they're also growing so much, and that's worth celebrating. And in the meantime, save the WTF moments for your group chat, pour yourself a coffee, and remember this phase is temporary. But their ability to negotiate snack time like a high-powered attorney, that skill is forever.
You know, I love sharing things like this because I love how it's relatable because I want to normalize it for you that it's hard for everybody. It's supposed to be hard. If it was easy, then everybody would be doing it so easily and just to be a cakewalk. Now, there's parts of it that are not hard and there's parts of it that are hard. And then what I find is with every age, once you give up, oh, this is so much easier that they're walking and they can get dressed on their own or they're taking a bath on their own or they're able to swim independently, whatever it is, then you're going to swap that hard thing for something easy, like they become independent swimmers. And then you just substitute something else that's going to be hard. Yeah, they can swim on their own now, but now you can't just hold them on your hip and they're a little bit more dangerous in the pool and they're a little more reckless and they don't know their line. So the fear that you have of watching them swim is a little bit higher. So there's always that give and take, so to speak, with every age level. So when you kind of just enjoy the ride and not want it all to be easy, then you're like, oh, 50% of this stage is going to be hard and 50% is going to be easy from now and forever. Amen. So I love how she kind of explained it from the impulse control where they don't have impulse control and they're not supposed to. This is the development of their impulse control. This is where it comes from. They're not going to be a teenager in high school throwing shoes because they're frustrated. But she says like the self-control center is still under construction. Their emotion center is working overtime. So they're just like, what are all these emotions? Their language are still exploding. Sometimes they're also not exploding. So they have a lot of words in their head, but they can't get them all out. And that's very frustrating for them. But they are not broken. Their brain is not broken. There's nothing wrong with them, so to speak. But I love that when she's going over the broken cracker or the bedtime or whatever, she's giving a lot of good things that you can do, like when you're getting them dressed. I love love and logic. You know, I talk about love and logic all the time. It's like giving them 2 acceptable choices and you don't, to kind of give them a little control over their destiny, so to speak, because think about it. They want that control. They can't have the control because they can't drive. They can't do all the things that someone with full control has. They don't have complete free will, but they want their free will. So you give it to as much as you humanly can. So when they're getting ready, instead of go get dressed, we're going to wear this. It's like, we're going to go get dressed. You want to put your pants on first or your jeans on or your shirt on first. If they have a uniform, then let them pick out the color. If it's a problem in the morning, then have them do it the night before and lay it all out. The more you can have them doing things independently and doing things in advance versus the heat of the moment, the better it is for all of you because you're not having so much tension. There's going to be tension and there's going to be moments of friction. So how can we do to alleviate that and lessen that to the smallest degree? Whether it's brushing their teeth, do you want to brush your teeth first or you want mommy to brush your teeth first? They're always going to say them first. Okay, you go first and I'll go second. Which toothpaste do you want to use? Now, are we giving them choices for everything? Absolutely not, because we'll just be stuck in choices forever. But on those things that are a little bit a hotter topic, so to speak, is when you want to give them sense of control. If you feel like you're just constantly micromanaging and helicoptering and just control over them, then say, okay, where can I relinquish some of this control? Where I don't care what kind of toothpaste they use, as long as if it's a Scooby-Doo or the Spider-Man, it doesn't matter to me. Or which sink that they use within reason. If there's 2 sinks in the bathroom, do I care which sink they use? No. So always picking our battles too, because a lot of times if we didn't have a lot of control when we were younger and we felt like our parents just micromanaged us to the pieces like crazy, then a lot of times we want to garner some of that control back unconsciously. And so we try to do it on our kids. But when you're aware of it, guess what? You're not going to do it as much. So listen to what she's saying. Know that it's all normal. Know that it's hard and it's supposed to be hard, and you're doing an awesome job. And when you tell yourself you're doing an awesome job, you're going to see the awesome job that your kids are doing, and then you're all going to have much more harmony in the home. I love you guys. I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye. Hey mamas, thanks for listening. If you had any ahas, clicks, or those lightning bolt moments while listening, you have to check out my free parenting bootcamp, where we take all of this to the next level and we try to create even more awakenings for ourselves so that we can connect more with our kids and never yell at them again. You can sign up at www.coachingkelly.com. And if you really want to fill up my love cup, send me an email of what your aha was, what your click was, what was that lightning bolt moment while you were listening. I want nothing more in life than for you to have harmony in your home and to learn how to be an imperfect mom like me, which allows your kids to be imperfect too, each and every day. Thanks for listening.